builds an ark, a seaworthy vessel, large enough to save his family and thousands of animals from a flood which destroys all life on Earth. It's an epic story found in the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah. But is it fact? Now the technology exists to take a closer look at this well-known tale through the eyes of science. We will examine the evidence from archaeological finds in Iraq and explore proof that a global flood did cover the whole planet. And we'll uncover the real Noah, who he was, where he lived, and what he might have looked like. The story of Noah is told in the book of Genesis in the Bible and the Torah. It's set somewhere in the Middle East about 5,000 years ago. Noah's family includes his wife, 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their brides. Noah stands out as a good person, the only virtuous man left in a world filled with corruption and violence. He is described as a wine grower. It's a claim that has an authentic ring to it, as wine was grown in the region as far back as 3000 BC. The story says that God warned Noah in a dream that he was going to punish humanity for its sins. A flood would cover the whole earth. To save himself and his family, Noah was instructed to build a boat of wood and to cover it with pitch inside and out. He was also ordered to give the ark 3 decks, a door, and a roof. But the most surprising of these instructions was the sheer size of the ark. The Bible spells it out in cubits. A cubit was the length of a man's forearm, about 1.5 feet. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 30 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. That's almost as big as today's supertankers, and nearly the size of the Titanic. The familiar image from the storybooks is of a huge wooden ark with the animals marching inside 2 by 2. But that is a 19th century image, completely at odds with what could be built in biblical times. According to Tom Vosmer, an expert on ancient boats, not even 19th century engineers could have built an ark that big out of wood alone. Even 19th century boats had steel frames inside wooden frames.
The problem with a 450-foot boat made of wood is that the wood as a material cannot maintain the shape of the boat. And the boat would start to distort at sea, the seams would open up, and it would sink.
It's a safe bet that a wooden ark that size would have sprung hundreds of leaks along the length of its huge hull and sank like a stone. That's not to say Noah didn't build an ark. It's just that it was probably much smaller. Then there's another problem. How could 2 of every different kind of animal have fit into the ark? At the latest estimate, there are 30 million species on Earth. Noah would have struggled to fit them all into a fleet of arks. He had just 7 days to find the animals and get them on board. 30 million million species in a week, Noah would have had to load them at a rate of 50 pairs a second. Using a more realistic loading rate, it would have taken Noah at least 30 years. It may seem like there's a stark choice. Dismiss the story as myth or appeal to the hand of God. But there may in fact be another explanation. The instruction to load all the animals could have referred only to all the animals in Noah's part of the world. In fact, the book of Genesis specifies which animals Noah was to load. The same book has a second set of instructions which are much less well known, but present a more realistic scenario. Noah is told to take 7 pairs of clean animals. Clean animals were those considered suitable for ceremonial sacrifices to God. The books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy specify 10 such species, including several types of sheep, antelopes, cattle, goats, and deer. 7 pairs of 10 species. That's 140 animals. Noah is then directed to take a pair of each impure animal and bird. Again, the books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy list 30 or more. They include the pig, the hare, the lizard, the snail, and so on. That's a further 60 animals. Then finally, Noah is told to load 7 pairs of the clean birds, like doves, ducks, and cockerels. Adding all that up, Noah had about 260 animals. That's child's play compared to 30 million. Especially if you discount the elephants, kangaroos, and reluctant camels. A smaller ark and fewer animals. Suddenly, the Noah story looks more plausible. But the next part of the story may be the most far-fetched of all. Noah, the ark, and the animals. It's all meaningless without the worst cataclysm in human history, the flood.